learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So Carolyn and I went down in the woods the other day to look at the deadfall, see what kind of deadfall we could pull out of there. And boy, that was a mistake. It's getting into the season now where ticks are just terrible. And so we walked down here. We weren't down here even a half an hour. Came back out, we were just covered in ticks. So I can't take you down in the woods this season, but we can sure enjoy the beauty. I would imagine that that really looks wonderful in the camera. So there you go. Somebody asked me the other day, how do I feel about living off grid? They said, you really seem happy. I remember watching a movie. Can't remember the name of the movie, can't remember who the actors were, but I do remember something, and I'm not quoting the movie, I'm paraphrasing. But I think they were talking about describing a feeling. One of the characters said, well, it'd be like describing how ice cream tastes and feels. Every word that you would use to describe what ice cream tastes like and feels like has to use another feeling or emotion. It tastes sugary. Well, what does sugar taste like? It tastes cold. Well, what's cold feel like? It's smooth. Well, what's smooth? So if you've never experienced any of these feelings, then it's impossible to explain. It'd be like trying to explain it to a Martian. I will do the best I can to explain to you what it feels like living out here. And again, it's just things that if you haven't experienced it, how am I ever going to explain it? Being off-grid means I don't have to have a power company. I remember having power and trying to get power on grid. And of course, you got to call somebody. I hate talking on the telephone. Hate it. I would rather throw the phone away. The only reason I have a phone is so I can contact family members. But I hate calling the store and seeing what the hours are. I hate talking on the phone to total strangers. I never know what to say. Like, yeah, what time you open? Oh, yeah, we're open at 8 o'clock. Okay, well, I guess I'll talk to you later. And I'm just always uncomfortable on the phone. Well, when you're talking to the power company, first you got to get through the computer system, which is just aggravating. And then when you actually get to talk to a human being, yeah, I'd like to have power at this address. You're on the phone for 20 minutes, an hour. Well, here, I don't ever have to worry about it. If I need a solar panel or a battery, I can go to the store, I can pick up a battery, I can go online, and I can pick up a solar panel. I mean, it's just that difficult. It's not hard at all. I don't have to talk to anybody. I've said in the past that I used to be a conspiracy theorist. I always thought there was going to be a political breakdown in our country. And at some point, we were all going to have to learn how to live off grid and be survival man or a prepper or whatever. As I got older, I realized that, you know, that's just not a big deal to me anymore. However, since the pandemic, I have started feeling this sense of conspiracy again. And I'm trying to avoid it. I don't want to think everything, you know, around me is a big conspiracy. But on the other hand, we have been locked down. States are just now starting to open back up for what, 2 months? Originally, this is supposed to be for 2 weeks. Well, a lot of people had to go out and rush around and buy 2 weeks' supplies. Well, Carolyn and I didn't. We did quite well through the 2 weeks. Well, then it turned into a month. And then 2 months. Carolyn and I are still doing pretty well. We don't have to go out and socialize. We don't have to go out and shop and just make ourselves busy. Because we've been busy. Every day we've been able to find something to do with our time so we're not bored. We don't have to be online, watch TV, and come out here, cut grass, cut wood, build something, tinker with something, make a wood stove. And I suspect our future is going to be like that forever. As a matter of fact, when I look at this property, I think, man, there's so much that I want to do. And this is key, I want to do. You know, I want to get the tiny house built. And so, okay, well, we got to hurry up and spend the $5,000 so we can get all the materials and I can hurry up and build it. But then I control my emotions and I say, okay, yes, I want a tiny house, but it can wait. I can build the floor this month. I can build the wall next month. If you look at the big picture, I want to live off grid. Most of my resources have been put into living off grid. Solar panels, buying the property, setting up the camper, make sure I got heat. So the tiny house is secondary to me. So the feeling that I gotta have things to make myself happy has already been accomplished. Even though I want to get the house built, I don't have to get the house built because I don't have that driving urge to have to buy things to make myself feel good. And I think that's a big problem in society. And that's why we've become such a commercialized society, is because we're just bored with our lives. And we got to have something. We got to have the newest gadget, got to have the biggest TV. Well, I don't need a TV because I can come out here and, man, look at that TV. Isn't that something? Again, here's something that a lot of people are not going to understand. I am an introvert. Through and through, I just don't want to be around people anymore. How can you be on YouTube if you're an introvert? Well, to me, I'm looking at a camera. I'm not looking at anybody. I'm talking to myself. And so being on YouTube is not a big deal because I know every time I say I'm an introvert, you can't be an introvert if you're on YouTube. Well, yeah, I think you can. Lots of extroverts can't understand why anybody would want to be an introvert. It doesn't seem normal to an extrovert. Whereas to an introvert, they can understand why somebody would want to be an extrovert. Because there are a lot of introverts who actually strive to be an extrovert because they feel abnormal. Well, I don't. I've gotten to the age now where I've realized I just don't need to be around people. I'm a very independent person. Living off grid, where everybody is leaving me alone, is very comfortable to me. Everything we do is more cost effective. Sure, you can look at the obvious and you say, well, you got solar panels, so yeah, you don't have to pay utilities. That's more cost effective. But I don't have to buy anything anymore. I live in a tiny house, so I can't buy anything to actually put into the tiny house. Groceries, I got a small refrigerator, so we got to really think sparingly on how we're going to buy groceries. I mean, Carolyn and I spent $174 for a month's worth of food for 2 people. So the cost savings is phenomenal, which gives me the freedom of not having to work as hard in life like I used to in the past. I was working 16 hours a day, every day, 7 days a week. Well, now, of course, I still work 7 days a week, but I can limit the amount of hours I work. Today it's raining, so I can spend a little bit more time working to make money and less time out here. Conversely, on pretty days, I can come out here, I can work, and spend less time working to make money. And it's such a relaxing lifestyle when you do that. Which brings me to the subject of work. And I've been getting this a lot. It's funny because about I don't know, 2 weeks ago, I was being criticized about how lazy I am. You're just so lazy. You only work 3 hours a day outside, which I was. You know, I was out of shape. Everything I did just wore me out. I was sweating profusely all the time. But over in a short 2-month period, I feel a lot healthier and I'm working longer and stronger. So now everybody's saying, you're working too hard. It looks like a lot of work. Why would you want to work so hard? First of all, what's wrong with work? There's nothing wrong with work. Everybody goes and works. You go to work, you work 40 hours a week, you come home, and you know what you do when you come home? You work! And let me explain this. My grandpa said this one time. If people would work even half as hard as they did when they were playing, this country would be absolutely phenomenally rich. Everybody would be rich. So, you know, you'll see people go out to the ball field, grown adults, on a weekend, picnic, and they will just kill themselves out there playing ball. You'll see people going out and boating. They got to work really hard to get the boat set up. They go out there, they set the boat out, they go out for a few hours, they do some fishing. Gardening, you work your tail off for gardening. So the hobbies and playtime, people work really hard. Well, the same thing's happening to me. This is my playtime. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, so I work really hard at doing it. The fortunate thing is this playtime is paying off for me. By reducing the amount of money I have to make, I can spend more time out here playing really hard, living off grid, building things, cutting the grass. And I know a lot of people think, man, why would you want to cut grass? What's so special about cutting grass? I don't know, it's rewarding. I mean, I've turned this overgrown bush, I mean, if you look at that, back there is what this entire yard looked like. And now I've got a yard. We got a little spot covered up right now with tin roof that we're going to turn into a garden. Of course, we're starting out with a small garden this year. Next year it will be much bigger. We're doing things that are rewarding and good for the spirit. So I get a lot of people that tell me that I am inspiring them. And I'm curious what it is that I'm inspiring you to do. Because on the same token, I'm inspiring you to basically work harder. What I've been really trying to do is inspire you to live your dream, whatever that dream is. Not, my dream. This is my dream. Don't take my dream. Take your dream. This is my little piece of paradise. Every day I discover something new. I learn something new. I get to invent something new. I get to play with something new. And so if I'm inspiring you to do something like that, something new, then that's the dream that you want to take. So I hope I continue to inspire. Thanks for watching.